Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Friday, the 17th day of April 2020. Hope and I trust that everyone is doing fine, that you had an enjoyable evening, and I want to continue to encourage you to do your part to help to fight and suppress the COVID-19 virus here in the Cayman Islands as well. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I'm your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Our phone lines are always open, and there's always that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261, where you can leave us a text message or send us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning none other than MLA Mr. Christopher Saunders. Mr. Saunders, good morning, sir. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, OCN. Good morning to your listening public. I want to, first of all, I guess, give apologies to the Honourable Leader of the Opposition. It was actually his morning this morning. But one of the things I just want to put out there, because he's actually busy trying to work on getting one of his constituents off on the air ambulance.
Yes.
And I'm going to say this much, and Arden will probably kill me for saying this, but, you know, politically, Arden and I have never really seen eye to eye. Well, I mean, people know, where my political history is coming from, but I must say, and the same too with some of my other colleagues, because remember, I'm pretty much, barring Bernie Bush, most of my colleagues are all pretty much ex-PPM and, I'm ex-UDP. But I must say, since working with them, I have come to realize why the voters, particularly in Bondon and East End, I've returned those guys. Arden is a worker. I can tell you this much. I keep weird hours too, and that goes back to my days from college. And you can send a message at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and chances are Arden is going to respond to it. And I know last night he was up, back and forth. There's a lot of stuff that he do behind the scenes that he doesn't get a lot of credit for. And I must say, I've been working with him now for almost 3 years, that I can say he's one hard working individual.
No question about that.
Yes. Alva, pretty much the same thing too. Alva's most stuff on social media, and he does a lot within his community too. But I think one of the things that those guys definitely need to work on, and me myself included, is a lot of the PR in terms of the stuff that we do. I mean, Mr. Eden, I mean, my God, man, the man is a machine. I mean, I wish I could live as long as he does, be as and mobile as he is, and be as active in the community as he is. I mean, for him to be keeping up with us young guys too. I mean, I gotta be honest here, not to take anything from him, but it is impressive in terms of his stamina and everything else, and the way his mind still work. And it goes to show that, I mean, in our country, we have some people, I mean, and this is one of the things that have, I guess, always bothered me on a personal level, is how we treat our seniors. I mean, we have people that really, when I say the mind's still sharp, they still have a lot to contribute. And we have just got to find a way to bring their talents more, or use their talents more. Yes. I mean, look at you. I mean, you have your contributions, even post-retiring from the civil service, has been nothing short of phenomenal too. Huh. I mean, it helped shape a lot. I mean, the debate in this country and everything else. And so I really want to give a shout out to a lot of the people who are, I don't want to say old, but I want to say young at heart. Because my mother is one of them too, even though she's stuck in St. Lucia. But, we really have a lot of talent in this island, OC, and we have just got to find a better way to use
Tap into it, yes, definitely.
So that's my opening salvo for this morning. But Aaron, good luck, and if you're listening and you have a chance and everything, I hope everything works out with your constituent, and good luck with the family too as they go through this time. Excellent.
Okay, what I'd like to do, Mr. Saunders, is to give a quick summary, and this is based on what GIS has put out in terms of yesterday's press briefing. And if you want, you may want to comment on some of the things. The highlights of the press briefing yesterday: the Commissioner of Police announced a new hard curfew order effective from 7 p.m. this evening, the 17th of April, until 5 a.m. on Friday, the 1st of May. Also, that soft curfew or shelter-in-place order is extended with an extension of hours permitted to exercise and a restriction on driving in order to exercise. Also, the announcement of one positive result from the 54 tests that were recently conducted. And the governor announced an evacuation flight to Canada slated for next week. Interested persons must register on the registration of Canadians Abroad website in order to be able to qualify for that flight. And then there's additional information in relation to today's flight as well, and there's some instructions that are given to persons traveling on that flight, and we can get into those details later. But those basic four bullet points, they're starting first with the new hard curfew that is effective as of 7 p.m. this evening until 5 a.m. on Friday, the 1st of May, for 2 weeks.
Okay, well, I mean, this is pretty much a continuation of the same curfew that we have, with
Precisely.
Sundays being the lockdown. One of the things I just want to touch on, OC, that came out of, I think, yesterday's press briefing also, was the recovery of the one patient in Cayman Brac. I think that's actually a positive, and that's one district I was a little bit concerned about also, due to a lot of the seniors that they have over there also. Like I said, I've had pneumonia, I've had emphysema, so I know what that is like, and it is not pretty. Mm-hmm. So we're glad to see that. Glad to see that the exercising has also moved to 5:15 to the 6:45 Monday to Saturdays. I think that's actually a positive too. Mm-hmm. That extra 45-minute window on both sides at the time. And it's fun. I need to give the commissioner his props, because one thing I can say is that every single time that I have reached out to him, communicated to him, he has responded very promptly. I must give him his props for that. Earlier this week, I sent him something of what they were doing in Turks and Caicos, where that this news story where I think it was up to 39 cars were seized by the police during curfew. So I sent it on to him, and he was saying that he had reached out to the commissioner over there, but a lot of those were for motor offenses rather than anything else. Mm-hmm. But it kind of sent the light bulb off, because when I look at that, was it last Sunday when I had curfew? I think there were like 40 people on the road. I think that it was like 40 people during that hard curfew on Sunday. And I'm like, which part of staying home do some people just can't understand? I mean, there's one guy, I think, that was on social media literally bragging about, getting his hair cut and literally doing all that kind of stuff. Wow. And I really hope to God that someone visited him and speak some sense into him. You know what I mean? But one of the things I can say, while I'm not one of them who ever in a police state, but in this situation, if people can't hear it, then all their cars still after this thing is done too. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's one option. And now that LA is meeting next week, and I understand that there may be some changes, I believe, to the traffic law. I think that may be coming. That's one of the things that we need to look at too. Yeah,
during and then you have to pay you have to pay for the storage while it's impounded by the police. But
if people have no reason to stay off the road and want to be on the road, and they can't understand how dangerous this thing is. We have all seen the videos. I have some friends in New York that sent me the videos from some hospitals in New York. And when you see the body bags just piling up, and I think until with us, till it hit home where we know somebody who was really been severely affected by this, and God forbid it never happens, I think that's what it will take for some people to take this more serious.
Yes.
But this is a very serious virus.
It is extremely, extremely serious, and people not taking it. I know on the evacuation flights today that you sent out to your constituents, as you usually do,
every day,
a summary of everything that's taking place, and I think it would be instructive to highlight that, because people that will be taking place today as well. So here are some of the guidance rules for passengers. So passengers planning to depart the Cayman Islands on Cayman Airways emergency travel flights are asked to bear in mind the following information. Cayman Airways face mask requirements at check-in on flights. All passengers must present at check-in and boarding with their own face mask or face covering, which they must wear for the entire duration of the flight until disembarking. So that is extremely important. Don't go there without a face mask and expect that you're going to be put on the flight and expect that you're going to raise merry hell because you didn't know that you were required to have a face mask. So you must have a face mask at check-in, boarding as well, and you must wear it for the entire flight. Passengers without a face mask or face covering will not be permitted to board the flight. Any comments on that, Mr. Sanders?
No, I think that is straightforward. One of the things I must say, looking, and you and I were discussing this just before we came on here, with in Emirates, in United Arab Emirates, in Dubai, they are now starting these serology tests. Basically take a 10-minute turnaround. They're testing people before they go on flights, and they get results back in 10 minutes. So we're kind of seeing where the new normal is already starting, and they're the first one that's doing it. So I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. One thing that wasn't clear, and this was one of the feedback I got from several people last night after sending the message out to my constituents, people who are taking people to the airport. What happens when they're taking somebody and it's not their last name date to be on the road?
There's some instructions for the police on that, and we will go into that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. We're going to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. When we return, we will continue with the instructions that are given for persons traveling on Cayman Airways, as well as traveling to the airport for other flights as well. Please stay tuned for the record with Mr. Christopher Saunders. We'll be back shortly.
The government of the Cayman Islands has implemented a new curfew order today, Friday, 17th April 2020, commencing at 7 p.m. and concluding on Friday morning, May 1st at 5 a.m. 2020.
This new curfew order will remain in place for 14 nights between the hours of 7 p.m. and 5 a.m., concluding on Friday morning, the 1st of May 2020. During this curfew period, the following additional restrictions will be imposed. On Sunday, the 19th of April and Sunday, the 26th of April 2020 will operate as 24-hour curfew periods with full hard lockdown on both dates. No persons other than exempted essential services personnel will be allowed to leave their homes on those dates for any reason. Exercise periods in public places is not permitted on those two dates. Beach access to public beaches throughout the Cayman Islands to Friday, the 1st of May 2020, there is a full 24-hour curfew or hard lockdown on public beaches throughout the Cayman Islands. This means no access to public beaches throughout the Cayman Islands at any time during the period between the 17th of April 2020 and the 1st of May 2020 by imposition of the order of curfew. To clarify this position, this in effect is a full hard lockdown of all public beaches throughout the Cayman Islands, which prohibits any person or persons from entering on, walking, swimming, snorkeling, fishing, exercising, or engaging in any type of marine activity on any public beach throughout the Cayman Islands. This hard curfew runs until Friday, the 1st of May 2020 at 5 a.m. And to assist in interpretation, public beach means the portion of the beach that ends at the high water mark. I remind all persons that a breach of a hard curfew is a criminal offence carrying a penalty of 3,000 Cayman dollars and imprisonment of 1 year or both.
For more information,
email at curfewtime@gov.ky. That's curfewtime@gov.ky.
The public is advised to report breaches to 911. The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Captain Thomas William Farrington, CBE, JP, 1900 through 1978. Captain Willie was the first Caymanian to be made a commander of the British Empire. He was also one of the first people elected to the Executive Council after the country's first constitution in 1959. He represented West Bay in the Assembly continuously for 55 years, a record unsurpassed by any politician in the Cayman Islands history. In the late 1940s, Captain Willie was sent by the Presbyterian Church to Jamaica to persuade the Synod Council to support the establishment of a high school in Cayman. That high school is now John Gray High School. Once his father retired, Captain Willie took over the family merchandise and shipping business. For more than 10 years after World War II, he provided the only regular freight service between Grand Cayman and Tampa. He was the founder of Cayman International Airways and served for many years on the Cayman Islands Cooperation and the Air Transport Licensing Authority. He was a Justice of the Peace, law agent, notary public, church elder, Sunday school teacher, and civic leader. He married Myrtle Ebanks in 1924, and the couple raised 4 children.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Saturday, March 7, made a difference to 601 persons who benefited from a free mini-medical including diabetes, blood pressure checks, and other conditions. Through your generosity and participation, Rotary Central Health Check 2020 made the difference to 7 persons, directing them to immediate medical attention and treatment. 240 persons were referred to their physicians for care and guidance. 93 persons were screened as new blood donors, new lifesavers. With your kind assistance, March 4 and March 5, Rotary Central hosted 20 healthcare professionals, physicians, nurses, and pharmacists from 8 countries, including the Cayman Islands. They completed Part 1 training to qualify as Caribbean Certified Diabetes Educators. The Rotary Central Health Check 2020 and the Rotary Diabetes Educators Program, doing our part, helping our community to stay healthy. Remember, keep your distance, keep safe, keep faith, stay home. Rotary Club Central. Together, we shall overcome.
Vamped Motors encourages everyone to stay home in compliance with our government's directives, which are absolutely critical to protect our islands from the coronavirus. In light of this, Vamped Motors will be closed until our Cayman Islands government gives us the all-clear to return to work. Please, everyone, be safe and let's get through this together by staying apart.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
I remember playing at 7 Mile Beach as a boy, eating mango by the sea, learning how to snorkel. My mother, she worked so hard to provide for our family so that we could have those moments. Seeing her age has been tough. That strong, capable woman, now in need of daily support, it's my time to be strong for her.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of the careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
Sending money to your family overseas shouldn't be a full-day process. Stop waiting in lines. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide, offering 3 convenient locations: Shedden Road, Baden Water Sports in West Bay, and at FIS BRAC Agency in Cayman Brac. MoneyGram by Financial Integrated Services. Visit fiscayman.com for more information on MoneyGram services. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes, Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore,
The Cayman Islands government wishes to advise the public that vehicle licensing inspection services will not be available today, Friday the 17th of April, as previously announced. Licensing offices must remain closed pending the resolution of the COVID-19 crisis. Government is working hard to resume providing these services in the near future.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, none other than MLA, Mr. Christopher Saunders. Mr. Saunders, we're going to continue with the bulletin that has been put out in relation to travel on the Cayman Airways flights today as well. Mm-hmm. So it goes on to say the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service airport checkpoints. Traveling passengers should be aware that the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service will be activating 2 checkpoints in the vicinity of the Owen Roberts International Airport. Passengers should plan their journey to the airport accordingly, as these checkpoints, the stops at these checkpoints may cause road traffic delays, right? So plan your travel accordingly, which means leave early enough. The advice for friends and family at the airport: to help reduce the risk of possible transmission of COVID-19 to relatives, friends, and the wider Cayman Islands community, outbound traveling passengers should not have others meet them at the airport for goodbyes or well wishes. Relatives and friends are discouraged from leaving their homes to see passengers off at the airport. And of course, for the latest updates and information on Cayman Airways operated evacuation flights, you can visit CaymanAirways.com for the latest COVID-19 updates and information. As well.
I guess it's implied that somebody can drop them. I mean, once they can prove them, I know it didn't spell it out, but I mean that's implied because I don't think anybody expect anybody to be parking much cars out there or
right, and leaving them at the airport. Yeah, and if we can get some further clarification on that, and the question is, what if today's date you're not in the alphabetical index for being on the roads, and you're taking someone to the airport? If we can get some clarification on that, I would say that if I were a police officer and someone had all of the evidence showing that they're going to the airport to catch that particular flight, and the person who's driving, there's a person in the vehicle who's taken them there, that would be sufficient evidence to show why that person is on the road.
The problem is them going. The problem is when they're coming back. When
that's true too.
When the evidence isn't there to say, well, I could have said when drop somebody off. Anybody can say they went drop somebody off.
Yes, that's true too.
You know what I mean? So I think those are a little bit of logistics. Because let's be realistic, OC. This is the first time in 102 years. I mean, the last time we had anything like this of this magnitude was the Spanish flu back in 1918.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And less than 500,000 people on the planet was even alive back then, to even have an idea. And I mean, the world has changed a lot since. You know what I mean? So I think people have to be a little bit flexible that many of us, we are learning as we go. Mm-hmm, I mean, there is no set, no playbook for this. And it's funny because one of the things I was saying to people just this week is that, I mean, you look at the lockdown thing in China and in South Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, those different places where when the government tell people to stay home, they stay at home. Because in those countries, when the government tell you to do something, you do it. Here, you got people literally going on social media bragging about breaking the law. And if that was in China, somebody would sure visit him and make an example of him and that kind of stuff. So it is a little bit of the culture. And I saw this video of these Italian mayors like screaming to people to like stay home, stop going out, because people in Italy were still just going about their business as if they're invincible and they can't catch it. So I think it is one of those situations where until it comes home for some people, that they will understand it.
Yes.
And I really hope to God it never comes to that.
Okay, we're almost to the top of the hour, but I'm going to throw something out there for people to think about. Yeah, yesterday you and I were on the phone, we were talking, and I'm not sure whether or not anyone has picked up and doing this yet, but I think it would be a great idea for someone to produce some T-shirts, and I know most places are closed now, but produce some T-shirts, and maybe someone can contribute to it, and the proceeds from that can go to a worthy cause, especially the needy during the COVID-19 situation. But a T-shirt that says, and it should be with the Cayman, either the Cayman flag or the Cayman coat of arms, and saying, I'm doing my part to defeat COVID-19. I think that would be a positive thing. So if anyone has any ideas, or if anyone knows someone who produces T-shirts in the Cayman Islands, maybe we can get an exemption,
I think Luigi
to allow them to be able to produce those, get them on the market, get them out there, generate something for someone. Time for us to go to the news, folks. Something for you all to think about. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Value Med Pharmacy, with 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and an Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy. Need to make an essential outing for personal care items or prescription refill? Make ValueMed Pharmacy your stop for essential products. Open daily under new curfew-restricted hours. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or in Boddentown. Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Boddentown location opens at 8:30 a.m. and on Sundays and holidays 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. A maximum of 3 customers allowed in store, and customers are encouraged to maintain social distancing while shopping. For faster prescription service, order online through value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Island.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Crime still remains stable across the Cayman Islands, except for a small number of burglaries in the Georgetown Central area. The police commissioner on Thursday said burglars are targeting closed businesses. The same premises was targeted twice this week. On one occasion, the burglar or burglars were successful, stealing 2 television sets. Since the start of the COVID-19 outbreak, police officers have been working tirelessly on the front line. Commissioner Derek Burns says everything has been going well despite this.
So I would think going pretty well. I mean, most people are compliant with the order of curfew, both during the day, the soft curfew, which are covered by the public health suppression regulations, and at night time during the hard curfew, which is imposed under police law. So relatively speaking, having regard to our size of the island and our population numbers, relatively small numbers engaged in breach of curfew.
The RCIPS is being supported by their special constabulary officers, officers with Customs and Border Control, as well as work. Feedback so far?
Generally, the feedback and the interaction is quite positive. We have had some complaints about officers maybe not complying with social distancing, not wearing masks, maybe handling documents without gloves. We've been addressing that right throughout since the 24th of March, reinforcing the public hygiene messaging that's coming from Cayman Islands government and the Chief Medical Officer. I think we're getting better at it, but overall the relationship is quite good. I think generally communities understand what we're about, they understand what the curfews are about, and they understand the risks that are involved.
Police Commissioner says his officers are working 24 hours, 4 days on, 4 days off, a schedule he says his staff is receiving well. Premier the Honourable Alden McLaughlin says Cabinet met on Thursday and came to an agreement on a number of issues.
One of those is that we have issued a direction to the Cayman Islands Development Bank to allow a 3-month loan payment holiday with respect to persons who are customers of the bank.
Changes have been made to meet concerns of notaries for the financial services industry.
We have made changes to the regulations, which will now allow notaries to perform the act of notarizing documents virtually using appropriate technologies such as virtual images and audio in real time.
Mr. McLaughlin says once the board of directors has met, customers will be advised. Government announces a flight to Canada is being arranged for next week. No further details have been given, but during Thursday's COVID-19 briefing, His Excellency the Governor Martin Roper says there is one condition to consider.
The Canadian government has asked us to say that the only way to get onto a flight to Canada is to go to their website, the Registration of Canadians Abroad website, ROCA.
Any Canadians wishing to be considered for the flights being organized by the Canadian government should register on that website. Details will be posted on government social media website. For Jamaican nationals who wish to return home, Governor Roper says discussions are underway.
We obviously require the agreement of the country to which we want to send nationals to. So those discussions are underway, and they differ from country to country. I don't want to say too much more about that at the moment because I think discussions are underway and I don't want to have any impact on that.
And when it comes to four-legged passengers, His Excellency says there isn't a yes answer to that.
In this crisis that we're in, it just really is very difficult because a lot of the time you have to have certificates of health and vaccinations, and there isn't a lot of time to get those things done. So I don't think there is a yes answer to that at the moment, certainly not for these immediate flights.
Governor Roper says they're looking into whether that can be something that can happen for subsequent flights. And a quick note, Cayman Airways has said it can take a limited number of pets on a first-come, first-served basis on the outbound Miami flights, but no pets are allowed on inbound flights to Cayman. And a quick reminder from the NAU, existing clients do not need to visit the Need Assessment Unit offices. Their services will continue to be topped up. New clients can email nauinfo@gov.ky. You can also call 946-0024 or 244-2426. That's your latest news. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's Newsroom.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Value Med Pharmacy, with 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and an Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy. Did you know that Value Med Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with Value Med. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. Value Med on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
The Cayman Islands government would like to remind the public that e-services are available for vehicle license renewal, trade and business licensing, police clearance, and other transactions. Skip the line and apply online. E-services are user-friendly, efficient, and most important, you can apply and pay from the comfort of your home. Visit eservices.gov.ky.
The Tuesday and Thursday edition of the Business Buzz is brought to you by Count on Us Cayman Limited, offering bookkeeping services, property management, customs brokerage, and Cayman auto and tech services. For more information, call them on 623-6941 or 323-3995 or email info@countonuscaymanlimited.com.
Bring a little bit of luck to your house with Lucky Slice from America. Burgers, steak, and the all-day American breakfast. From Europe, fish and chips, pizza and crepes. And from Asia, sushi.
Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, 7 days a week, delivery or pickup, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. In these difficult times, we can all use a little bit of luck. Keep calm and stay lucky.
Minimize contact. Make your credit card payment by phone. Pay only for food. No delivery fee. No service charge. Certain restrictions apply. Call Lucky Slice Pizza to place your delivery order now. 949-3456.
Order from Cayman Creperie, Mojo Sushi, and Lucky Slice Pizza. Call 949-3456.
Hello, Cayman. I'm Quincy Brown. Anybody else getting mixed up with all these new coronavirus terms? Me too. But guess what? I've watched the press conferences and I've read the press releases and I've seen all the social media posts. Look here, I can help you out. Stay home. Leave Granny alone. Darling child, I mean, we can't be visiting our old people because they're more compromised. We gotta keep them safe. Anna got it now? If Anna want to stay up to the time with what's going on, there's only one place for the real information, the Cayman Islands government. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Now remember, keep washing your hands, keep following the rules, and keep taking care of each other. Saving lives is Caymankind.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by On Course Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. On Course Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness. Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by On Course Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. On Course Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking, change your life. Emotions are an ever-present, pressing, and sometimes painful force in our lives. Before you react to a situation, take a minute to ground yourself in the present. When we go through difficult times that are out of our control, it can be helpful to look for a higher meaning or a greater purpose. This can allow us to feel that our life has a sense of purpose, whether we call it faith or fate. There is a plan that is bigger than us. When burdened with difficult emotions, close your eyes, envision a positive solution to your problem, and ask the universe to illuminate the best path forward.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. On-Course Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. On-Course Cayman. Health, wellness, and happiness.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong series was brought to you by On-Course Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. On-Course Cayman. Health, wellness, and happiness.
Pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 82 degrees. Relative humidity is 87%. Barometric pressure 30.05 inches and rising. The wind is east at 8 knots. Overnight low temperature was 79 degrees. Synopsis indicate light east to southeasterly winds and smooth seas are expected to continue across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours in association with a weak pressure gradient across the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area, which are moving towards the northwest. Now, the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of early morning showers, and temperatures will be in the upper 80s. Your winds will be easterly at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet. And the forecast for tonight calling for pretty much the same partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of late night showers, and temperatures dipping to the mid-70s tonight. Your winds will be east to southeast, 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet. We're presently at a high tide, and the next low tide will be this afternoon at 1:21, and a high tide again tonight at 7:18. Sunset 6:43, and sunrise tomorrow morning at 5 minutes past 6, and the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Sunday morning.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
And top of the morning once again, and let's take a look at traffic. Looking pretty good on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz's. Traffic is light, and heading into Georgetown on Shedden Road, things looking pretty good as well, as traffic flowing light to moderate. Light traffic on Owen Roberts Drive. As we look to the east, if you're heading from the east to Georgetown, expect a smooth ride in as traffic flowing nicely on Shamrock Road and the Linford Pearson Highway, as well as coming off of Bobby Thompson Way. And looking towards Northtown Road, traffic is flowing at a good pace, moderately. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, light to moderate traffic flow. And that's very latest on the traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll give you another traffic report. Have a good morning.
Subway is helping to keep Cayman safe by limiting store openings and hours, offering curbside pickup and delivery right to your door. With 3 locations currently open to serve you: Anderson Square in Georgetown, Centennial Towers in West Bay, and Countryside Shopping Village in Savannah. Subway is open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on soft curfew days. Free delivery for orders with a minimum $20 purchase. Delivery times only from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. Subway, helping you to enjoy your favorite foods in the safest way possible.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Digicel is all about giving customers more convenience, more peace of mind, and more flexibility. Do more with the new My Digicel app. Buy plans, pay your bill, track your credit, track your data, and monitor your accounts. It's easy to use and has everything you need in one place. It's time to simplify your life, so go ahead and see for yourself. Download the new My Digicel app today. More made simple.
The Cayman Islands government wishes to advise the public that vehicle licensing inspection services will not be available today, Friday the 17th of April, as previously announced. Licensing offices must remain closed pending the resolution of the COVID-19 crisis. Government is working hard to resume providing these services in the near future.
Saturday, March 7, made a difference to 601 persons who benefited from a free mini-medical including diabetes, blood pressure checks, and other conditions. Through your generosity and participation, Rotary Central Health Check 2020 made the difference to 7 persons, directing them to immediate medical attention and treatment. 240 persons were referred to their physicians for care and guidance. 93 persons were screened as new blood donors, new lifesavers. With your kind assistance, March 4 and March 5, Rotary Central hosted 20 healthcare professionals, physicians, nurses, and pharmacists from 8 countries, including the Cayman Islands. They completed Part 1 training to qualify as Caribbean Certified Diabetes Educators. The Rotary Central Health Check 2020 and the Rotary Diabetes Educators Program, doing our part, helping our community to stay healthy. Remember, keep your distance, keep safe, keep faith, stay home. Rotary Club Central. Together, we shall overcome.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA Mr. Christopher Saunders, and we apologize for the absence of the Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Arden McLean. We know that he is involved with the air evacuation of one of his constituents this morning as well, extremely busy. With that, and the last few days and the last hours, he's been deeply involved with that as well. Before we went to the 8 o'clock news, I mentioned, made a suggestion about the creation of a T-shirt using the Cayman Islands coat of arms or the Cayman Islands flag, and I just want to remind persons, if you have any intention of doing something like that, and if you intend to use the coat of arms, the image of the coat of arms or the flag for commercial purposes, you must obtain the permission of Cabinet in that regard. So you should contact the protocol office in relation to how you go about getting permission to do that. There is a fee involved. You also have to point out to, you have to describe to Cabinet exactly what you're planning on doing, showing possibly the type of image that you're going to be creating and stuff. But I believe it would be good. It would be a good way for people to show that they're doing their part in terms of fighting the COVID-19 virus. A T-shirt, it will help to inspire people, and some people even have other ideas in relation to it, that we would have 2 colors, one representing the A to, was it A to L or whatever, and A to K, and then L to Z, A to K, L to Z, one color for one alphabetical index, another color for the other one, and you wear yours the day that you're out. If you're wearing a different color that day, that may mean that you shouldn't be out there. That was just a fun part for it. But no, I think it's an excellent opportunity for some entrepreneur or for some entity who want to donate to a charity to fund it and allow for allow for the proceeds to go to a charitable cause in the Cayman Islands. Just also want to point out that as far as the soft curfew was concerned, the only change that was made in relation to the soft curfew, and it's important for you to listen to this, because this morning I know on some WhatsApp groups yesterday there was a debate as to whether or not it came into effect this morning or tomorrow morning, and it is actually tomorrow morning. And what it says is the only change made relates to exercise in relation to the soft curfew, which is now permitted from 5:15 in the morning until 6:45. That is 6:45, 6:45 in the evening. The regulations also remove the right to drive to an exercise location. So you can't use your vehicle to drive to the point where you're going to start exercise. I think that is a good move as well, because it again reduces the number of vehicles on the road, and also reduces the complications that arise in terms of the police determining whether or not you're on the road. There are reports of people dressing up in their sweatsuits and whatever and saying they're going to exercise when in fact they aren't going to exercise. So if you're going to jog, if you start from home. If you're going to cycle, you start from home as well. We have now been graced with the presence of none other than the Honorable Arden McLean, Leader of the Opposition. Mr. McLean, good morning, sir. Welcome to For the Record. I can see your eyes are sort of tightened a little bit, which means that you were probably up all night. And I know that early this morning I was on the phone with you as well. Ms. Susan, you ready for him now? Yes, Mr. McLean, good morning, sir. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C., and good morning to my colleague, Mr. Sanders, and to the broader community. Yeah, it has been a rough couple of days for me, but I just had the privilege of seeing my constituent flown out of here. Mm-hmm. Total unrelated to the crisis we have, but these things needs to be dealt with also. But you can appreciate it. The little nuances to get people out of here now is it is very difficult, and then things change in every minute, and you got to go back and do it. And so he's gone now, him and his son. I was privileged of seeing him walk board the air ambulance.
Okay, that's good.
Which in itself was good, So, so those are the things we have to do now. In this, we have to multitask. The world hasn't stopped yet, Other things needs to be done as well. But it's nice to come, sort of surprise you and speak to some of the issues that we are facing. And I believe my mission here this morning should be to try to encourage people to stay home. That is the key to this. I know the government has been preaching that and all of us have been preaching that. I try to stay home as much as I can, but obviously I have to be out, more than most people, I believe. But we need to stay home. We need to adhere. I said this before, we don't want this thing to spread throughout this community. We have an aged society, and we have to protect them. I've been visiting some people in my constituency, and I stay outside their house, 20, 30 feet from them. It necessitates talking a little louder, but that's what it's about. You remember? Normal. Yeah, you remember, see, when we were growing up, we used to tell our friends when we get in arguments with them that greater distance, better friends. Well, I believe that's apt nowadays.
Yes.
You know, but in a different way. And unfortunately, we continue, every now and again we feel a little better about the results of it. Like yesterday was only one, but we let's not become complacent. And I'm amazed, I'm surprised that so many people are defying the provisions that have been put down in this country to protect the people from this thing spreading. And nobody knows that what we're doing is going to be effective. It's a trial thing here.
Much the same elsewhere as well. Everybody,
elsewhere.
Because it's something that no one has ever had to deal with before.
But it's not unique to us. The world over, people are challenging those things, and because they want to remain living the way they were, and we don't know as much as they say you have to be with. It is cut through the manner in which it's cut through. There's still much that is not known about this thing. Mm-hmm. So the further we stay away from each other, and our whole lives have changed because of this. But we need to put up with it for a little while. I don't want to be cooped up in my house either. Yesterday my family has been cooped up for the entire time. They haven't come out of the house. And I felt so sad for them that I drove them out, because it's not a crowd if it's your family in the vehicle. We had to go to the supermarket, and I had to go to my office in East End. We have to do something. We need to relax. We need to follow the instructions. And we don't know if that's going to be the full answer, but at least we need to do something. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's unlike Hurricane Ivan. Hurricane Ivan, we could pick up and fly away for a week or something like that. We can't go in a place. We're here stuck like the rest of the world is stuck, all within the borders of their countries. And my plea is to people to adhere to it. But importantly, too, we need to help people. We need to help the older ones. We need to have the vulnerable. And we need to have those people who are now off work as well. It is coming to that time when they are becoming anxious, and I'm seeing it. I had a meeting with the Premier and the committee, the executive committee of hazard management yesterday, and that's one of the things we talked about. The anxiety that is now starting to show itself, and people are going to become a little more desperate now. So we all have to throw our resources in to help our people. I have been doing that. Of course, I'm getting criticized for it. But they can criticize me as much about me imitating them. They can criticize me as much as they want. They're not going to reduce me into the corner. And the last person that put me in the corner, I gave back to Mother Earth on the 14th day of July 2002. But instead of criticizing and talking, they need to come out and do what they have to do for the people. Where were these people when I was around? What did they do? And with their friends who have no knowledge of what is going on. But this is not the time for politics. This is not the time for politics. We'll get to that point. Wait till the campaign starts, and then we'll all see who does what and do it best. This is not the time for politics. I don't think, I know this country knows that I have had my political rivals in the Legislative Assembly over the last 19 years, and I have survived that. Today I work with those very people that I had all these rivals with. And that's what this is about, putting our differences aside. The Premier calls me out every day, or I call him, and we talk. And that's what this is about now. We have reached that point that we need to put our differences aside and work together.
Okay, we're going to have to take a commercial break, but before we go there, something for people to think about. Again, it is so necessary that we continue to explain to people exactly what the situation is. This person says OC is not Friday's all letters day that people can get things done, because I heard you talking about taking someone to the airport will have to be explained. No, we're going by Friday.
Which one? All letters day. Explain
that. Whatever your surname, whatever alphabet that is, that you can be out there on Fridays. No, that's not the case. It used to be, at one point it was for banks, but banks now are open every day, and it's based on the surname. So that was only for one particular.
No, you can only be on the road if your surname starts.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Today's Friday. Whoever that is saying that, maybe I'll agree with them.
Okay, Susan
my
is saying,
surname is McLean, and it should be A to L today, right?
Right, but she's saying that for banks, Friday is all surnames.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, let's take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Insurance is complicated. Make your life easier and better protected with comprehensive financial solutions from FIS Insurance Brokers, with plans from life, health, property insurance, motor, public liability, and professional liability insurance. Whether you're protecting your family or your business, leave nothing to chance. Understand your options and protect yourself for the future. Speak to your FIS Insurance Broker agent today, located on Shedden Road by MoneyGram, or call 623-5616.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, formerly known as Professional Pharmacy, would like to thank the Cayman communities for their loyal support these past 18 years. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care. Thorough background checks and follow-up consultations is only the beginning. Your safety is our concern. Our staff are respected healthcare professionals whose job requires careful and precise calculations. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, where we prepare to provide exceptional care. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we care about your health.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Hello, K-Man. I'm Quincy Brown. Anybody else getting mixed up with all these new coronavirus terms? Me too. But guess what? I've watched the press conferences and I've read the press releases and I've seen all the social media posts. Look here, I can help you out. Stay at home. Stay home. No get about it. Stay your backside home. Una got it now? If Una want to stay up to the time with what's going on, there's only one place for the real information, the Cayman Islands government. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Now remember, keep washing your hands, keep following the rules, and keep taking care of each other. Saving lives is Caymankind.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255.
What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, MLA Mr. Christopher Saunders and the Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Arden McLean. Mr. Saunders, in yesterday's press briefing, again, two items that I would like you to comment on. One has to do that the Premier pointed out that the Cabinet met and agreed to request the Cayman Islands Development Bank to offer a 3-month loan payment holiday with respect to customers of the bank. In due course, customers will be advised of the details of that. And also in relation to concerns raised by the financial services industry and the notarizing of documents, changes to regulations will now allow notaries to notarize documents virtually using appropriate technologies in real time.
Well, first of all, I welcome the announcement concerning the Cayman Islands Development Bank. That is one institution that has a very important role to play in our development. I can tell you, during my years of going to college, my scholarship was also supplemented by a loan from the Development Bank. And I think in many countries around the world, it serves a purpose that goes outside a commercial bank. So I welcome that, and I also welcome the opportunity to hear if the government will be doing more in terms of to even recapitalize the bank and everything else to help a lot of small businesses during this time. So that, I think, is definitely a positive. One of the things, OC, that is good about crisis and challenges, I think Churchill said it best, is that we should never lose opportunity to gain from crisis. And when you look now in terms of many changes within our country, in terms of people being able to work at home and everything else, the truth of the fact is I suspect and I expect that once we have gotten over the worst of this pandemic, is that we will see structural changes within our economy in terms of what is needed and some of the changes, and some of them would be very welcome. I think, the electronic notarization is definitely one that's a positive. People driving around looking for people in this day and age to physically sign something isn't going to happen. I saw one report, I think week before last, where they were saying even in the United States, they expect social distancing processes to be in effect all the way into 2022. Just to kind of put things in context. So those are the kind of things that I welcome, but equally so, at the same time, one of the opportunities that this also gives us, in addition to what you mentioned, is we need to take a look at our ICT infrastructure. Now, with most people working from homes, we see now that even the internet speeds and the quality of internet in some areas is actually inadequate to what the future needs of the country may be. So I think that's definitely one of the issues that we need to look at. Two, one of the things that we also need to look at is more in terms of local agricultural production. We see how vulnerable we are to other countries now. We saw what was happening with China when they were locked down and what it did to global food supply in terms of the demand and also the supply to some extent. And also saw where people are worried about being forced to be able to get some of the goods that we have imported. So I think it is chance now, an opportunity for us to relook at the way in which we look at our own local agriculture. I know my colleagues and I, we believe that's one industry that should be subsidized, and we will support the government subsidizing it in terms of encouraging it. Because like most industries, you need some level of subsidization for it to work. But you look at the greater good overall, and that's one of the things. And one of the other things that we definitely need to make sure that we learn from all of this is that we look at the type of jobs. And one of the things, and I know we had spoke about the program that Michael Miles run in terms of the technical and vocational program, as we can look at the list of essential workers, the people that we need in this country during times of crisis. Those are the jobs that we should make sure are pretty much we encourage more Caymanians to be in those jobs, because ultimately those are the jobs that we need in times of crisis. What we don't want is to find ourselves in a position where we require a certain particular job in times of crisis, and then we find out that that person may have other priorities where, for whatever reason, they may need to return home. So these are the kind of conversations that we need to have. And I can tell you, my colleagues and I will already start having this conversation in terms of what we expect the new normal to look like. But the truth of the fact is, things are not going to go back to the way they were anytime soon. And I think we just have to start adjusting our mindset now in terms of how we move forward. One of the things when we met earlier this week that we are looking at is just not the curfew or whatever being extended, but also for us and for the public, the wider public, what does safe look like? I mean, what is acceptable? And then more importantly also, when do we expect to start, I guess, moving into the next phase? Mm-hmm. I mean, one discussion that jumped out recently in the United States, I mean, we saw this week the battle lines being drawn between U.S. President Donald Trump and some state governors over when to reopen the economy. And despite all the legal and political arguments being made, the one argument that jumped out to me the most was where one person said, the ultimate people who are going to decide when we reopen the economy is the employees. Mm-hmm. Nobody is going to go and work in an environment that they consider to be unsafe. So the political leaders and the business leaders can be having this conversation, but they need to recognize that the people also, the employees also have a say. Because if they say, listen, I don't trust my circumstances to go out and run the risk of infecting my family, I'm not going to work. There's really nothing that you can do about that. So I say all of that to say to the political leaders and to the business leaders, have those discussions also. The people have those discussions also with the employees. They also have a say. So I think it's important for us to recognize that this is still a tripartite system and everyone is equally as they say at the table. I know it's a long answer to what you had raised, but I just couldn't help that.
Not a problem at all. Mr. McLean, the Premier also pointed out at yesterday's press briefing that the Governor, the Attorney General, he himself, and you and the Cabinet have agreed to hold a meeting of the Legislative Assembly next week, Wednesday, the 22nd of April, to approve amendments to standing orders of the Legislative Assembly, which will allow them to then meet virtually.
Yeah.
Comments on that?
When he said opposition, when he said the leader of the opposition, I mean all of us, because I consulted them before,
That he did, and I can tell you, I gave him a very animated answer too, so I can vouch for that.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I was part of last night while working to get my constituent out. I was on the phone with the AG as well on the motions and stuff because it's we really need to go to the LA now, and because this executive has been operating based on regulations and their ability, but by primary legislation to amend secondary legislation regulations, and that's how we have been operating in this crisis, really. And the utilization of the provisions within the laws. But there are certain things, remember we recommended about pensions and the like, the opposition and stuff. And the Premier and the government has taken them on board. But those cannot be done without provisions being changed in the
primary
legislation. The other problem we face down there is to maintain social distancing. You remember the government side, all the benches are filled. All the seats are filled. On our side, it's only 7. And we probably could just barely maintain the separation. But the government will never get the separation there. And the legislature, by inference, is required to be physically at an address which is the middle of Georgetown. And when the governor does the proclamation to start a session or a meeting, it entails the physical address as to where that meeting must be conducted. So that means we have to be there at the Legislative Assembly. Now, the advent of this emergency and the requirement to have a meeting of the legislature for those that I spoke of earlier, the changing of legislation, means we have to come up with a new, innovative way of doing it. So what we're going to do is to allow people to stay home and participate in the legislature through electronic means. Zoom, I think, is one of those that people are now using to do conferencing. For instance, all like the Deputy Premier and the Minister for Education, they come on right. They wouldn't have to come down anymore. Mr. Anthony, I don't want to see Mr. Anthony down there. He has some underlying medical things over the years, and him and how him and Ellen are. They need to stay in their house and that kind of stuff. Al recently had a little issue. I think Al needs to stay home as well.
And had pneumonia in the past.
Yeah, and you had pneumonia in the past. Look like only me and Mr. Miller that is actually good to go. Anyway, to affect the first meeting, the legislature only needs to have a majority of the members present, excluding the presiding officer.
Yeah. So
10. We agreed on 10. We need 10. We agreed that we would do it proportionally, the same proportions that the legislature currently has, which is the government as a majority. So they would bring 6, and the opposition would have 4, because you have 2 independents who need to be there. And then myself and one of my members would go. So it would be 4 on the other side to ensure that we have, for that, to change the standing orders, to allow that the legislature to be held through electronic and vote and debate through electronic means at different locations.
Okay, we have to take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Vamped Motors encourages everyone to stay home in compliance with our government's directives, which are absolutely critical to protect our islands from the coronavirus. In light of this, Vamped Motors will be closed until our Cayman Islands government gives us the all clear to return to work. Please, everyone, be safe, and let's get through this together by staying apart.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Home, which should be a haven, can even be less of a safe space during curfew if someone is experiencing child abuse. If you or anyone you know is being abused, help is nearby. For emergencies, call 911. They will redirect your call to the relevant agencies. For general guidelines and inquiries, call the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub, MASH, at 1-800-534-2273 or 945-0545. Alternatively, email mash@gov.ky.
The government of the Cayman Islands has implemented a new curfew order today, Friday, 17th April 2020, commencing at 7 p.m. and concluding on Friday morning, May 1st at 5 a.m. 2020.
This new curfew order will remain in place for 14 nights between the hours of 7 p.m. and 5 a.m., concluding on Friday morning, the 1st of May 2020. During this curfew period, the following additional restrictions will be imposed. On Sunday, the 19th of April and Sunday, the 26th of April 2020 will operate as 24-hour curfew periods with full hard lockdown on both dates. No persons other than exempted essential services personnel will be allowed to leave their homes on those dates for any reason. Exercise periods in public places is not permitted on those 2 dates. Beach access to public beaches throughout the Cayman Islands to Friday, the 1st of May 2020, there is a full 24-hour curfew or hard lockdown on public beaches throughout the Cayman Islands. This means no access to public beaches throughout the Cayman Islands at any time during the period between the 17th of April 2020 and the 1st of May 2020 by imposition of the order of curfew. To clarify this position, this in effect is a full hard lockdown of all public beaches throughout the Cayman Islands, which prohibits any person or persons from entering on, walking, swimming, snorkeling, fishing, exercising, or engaging in any type of marine activity on any public beach throughout the Cayman Islands. This hard curfew runs until Friday, the 1st of May 2020 at 5 a.m. And to assist in interpretation, public beach means the portion of the beach that ends at the high water mark. I remind all persons that a breach of a hard curfew is a criminal offence carrying a penalty of 3,000 Cayman dollars and imprisonment of 1 year or both.
For more information,
email at curfewtime@gov.ky. That's curfewtime@gov.ky.
The public is advised to report breaches to 911.
The Cayman Islands government wishes to advise the public that vehicle licensing inspection services will not be available today, Friday the 17th of April, as previously announced. Licensing offices must remain closed pending the resolution of the COVID-19 crisis. Government is working hard to resume providing these services in the near future.
Hello, K-Man. I'm Quincy Brown. Anybody else getting mixed up with all these new coronavirus terms? Me too. But guess what? I've watched the press conferences and I've read the press releases and I've seen all the social media posts. Look here, I can help you out. Social distancing. Well, that means you're to keep a distance of 3 to 6 feet away from the person next to you. Or in layman's term, if you can see the color of the eye next to you, you're too close. Una got it now? If Una want to stay up to the time with what's going on, there's only one place for the real information, the Cayman Islands government. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Now remember, keep washing your hands, keep following the rules, and keep taking care of each other. Saving lives is K-Mankind.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, the Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Arden McLean, and MLA Mr. Christopher Saunders. We have a couple of phone calls on hold. Let's go to the phone lines. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O'Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Okay, and good morning to Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Arden McLean.
Good morning.
And good morning to MLA, Mr. Christopher Saunders.
Morning, bro.
Yes, Mr. McLean, last I asked you concerning how many ventilators the government had in stock. You said they had 40. We now have 61 positive people, and that moved very swiftly. Do you have an update on if the government has ordered any ventilators and if there's going to be a problem, because we know that the United States is short on ventilators. England, I'm sure they're trying to hold on to probably all of theirs also. So do you have an update on concerning government ordering ventilators and where they're planning on getting them from?
I don't know where. What I do know is that there were 4 ventilators on the ship the other day. The Premier said to me that they had stopped in Florida, and eventually the premier got those released. He announced that the ambassador in Jamaica assisted with that. So I suspect that those may be here now, and that they had put in an order for some 30, I think. To tell you where they ordered them from, I don't know, but they were working assiduously to try and get 30 more. Keeping in mind the one that you talked about, we have only had 3 or 4 on ventilators thus far.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I think we only had 4 admitted of the 61, and one
or two was on
ventilators.
Yeah.
So the ventilator. Remember, the ventilator is only needed when people
assisted
if they need to
breathing.
breathe.
Yes.
Yeah. So far, I mean, we have been very lucky or very fortunate that we didn't need us. Not all the cases would require it.
I mean, I can double check those numbers.
No, just check it.
We'll
I just checked it a while ago.
It was 30 that they ordered?
No. I'm just talking about the patients actually.
Okay, but I know 4 was on that boat, and those were released. I would suspect that they're here now or maybe this week.
But that's a very good question.
Yeah, want to thank. It's a good question. I want to thank the caller for that. But so far we haven't needed them, and I would venture to say that if we continue on the course that we're on, and
with
people,
the same behavior,
people start to continue to comply with the instructions that are given by the health authorities, by the experts and stuff like that, hopefully we won't need them as well. Let's grab the other caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, OC, and your panel there.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Yes, OC, you know, my wife of 51 years coming in May, she was very insulted by a banking institution yesterday. Now, OC, I can take a lot of things, right? But that insult is unacceptable from this banking institution. And my name is Lennox Moxham. I'm not afraid to say my name.
Mm-hmm.
If they do apologize to my wife publicly within the next 25 to 36 hours, I'm going to expose them. Whether it be by the air or by a letter in the papers. Because that is unacceptable. You understand? And I want you, if you can sort of put that back out there again after I tell you why I tell you. Because we've been dealing with this bike now for quite a few years. And let me tell you something. If they do not apologize, I will be exposing them. You understand? Thank you very much. See?
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have 1 minute. Miss Susan, you're not ready for that. We have 2 minutes still. Going back to the premier, he also pointed out that the leader of the...
I don't want to... I know you want to get to that. Sorry, I don't want to jump past what the last caller that just came in, but one of the things that we expect everybody in dealing with everybody is to have some level of respect. And if an employee of that bank or someone really went out and disrespected Mr. Moxham's wife, and you can hear it in his voice. I'm going to tell you right now, I would, Mr. Moxham, my number is 926-2804. I would very much like if you can give me a call also to walk me through this, and I can probably advise you the best way in which to deal about it, because there are code of conduct that Bankers Association have, and then there's also a certain kind of decorum that SEMA expect the banks to perform with. So 926-2804, Mr. Moxham, I would really like to have a chat with you after this. OC, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Not a problem. You ready for me now, Miss Susan? Folks, top of the hour, 9 o'clock, headline news. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
For today's biggest news.
Access. Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
Cayman's hard and soft curfew regime has been extended through May 1st. This Sunday and Sunday, April 26th, will be 24-hour hard curfew periods. And entering the beach remains off limits at this time. The Premier announced that the soft curfew or shelter-in-place order is also extended, with the extension of hours permitted to exercise from 5:15 a.m. now through 6:45 p.m. There's also been a restriction on driving in order to exercise, so you got to do it close to home. A 4-year-old United Kingdom boy with a rare form of cancer has recovered from the coronavirus. Archie Wilkes was diagnosed with stage 4 neuroblastoma in January 2019. His parents said, quote, "It's definitely a weight lifted to have their son home after he was hospitalized for 6 days." China has denied a cover-up of its coronavirus death figures as it revised the number of who died in the city of Wuhan by 50% to 3,869. Wuhan officials attributed the new figure to updated reporting and deaths outside of hospitals. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA Mr. Christopher Saunders and the Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Arden McLean. One of our listeners has written in and wanted me to give a shout out to Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown says his presentation of the COVID-19 ads put Cayman touched a serious message which fixes it in the mindset of listeners. That's Quincy's commercial there. So they want to give a big shout out to Quincy Brown for that Cayman twist to that commercial as well. Mr. Saunders?
Quincy has always been talented. I mean, the voices that Quincy has, Quincy has a unique talent that there's one person I can sit down and listen to all day, and there are very few people I can say that about, in terms of their talents and everything else. So, Quincy, big up yourself wherever you are if you're listening.
Okay, and there's a, hopefully I can get this, retrieve this. There's a birthday shout out that someone wanted as well. This may have been intended for another Radio Cayman program, but I'm going to read it out here anyway. They wanted to special birthday greetings to their daughter, Aliana Taylor, tomorrow, the 17th of today, the 17th of April. She's 11 years old today. Aliana Taylor, 11 years old. Greetings coming from her father, Alvin Taylor, and just want her to know that Daddy loves her very, very much. So, Miss Aliana Taylor, 11 years old today. Happy birthday to you. I believe we have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good. And good morning, Mr. Sanders.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Arden.
Yeah, he just
stepped out for a minute, yes.
Oh, okay. Mr. Sanders, I heard you a little while back on the radio speaking of agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you all want to look about doing something about it, sir. Now, can you give me a solution, what you all are going to do? Because I've been waiting, what is this now, 3 administrations. It's the 3rd administration that the government has promised to lease the 105 acres of property, agricultural land in the Eastern District. We are still waiting on it. I guess me and many more that would love to do farming in this country. And I think now this is going to really open them up right to the public and ask why didn't they lease that property? I need to know your solution now, because if the United States ever come and say, listen, we're going to slow down on exporting food, we're going to starve to death in this country because there's not enough farming here.
Well, first of all, sorry, I thought you were.
Yeah, sorry, I think I said enough. I need to know your solution. Solution is what we need in this country. We know what the problems are. We need solutions. And I need to know now, today, what you intend to do, and on the rest of you in the government that make the laws in this country. What are your solutions to our problems, in this particular problem, sir? I will listen on. Thank you very much. Have a good day and stay safe.
Thank you very much, caller. You do the same as well.
Well, see, if I may comment on that.
Sure.
I think I heard I had to step outside, so I got part of the conversation. But I think the essence of it was that we had promised, he said 3 administration, maybe more, had promised to lease some property in East End to the farmers. That came about because of me, really. After that unfortunate incident in East End, which was related to the prison farming,
The murder,
I was a member of cabinet at the time, and I said to them, I propose that we split it up and give it to farmers to farm. You were in cabinet at the time, Lucy. Let me tell this country where that property came from. And it's not 105 acres, it's 260 some acres. That came from those deans that were here trying to do farming. They bought up a number of parcels and combined them. And then Dr. Frank bought it for the rehabilitation processes from them when they went belly up. We didn't pay very much for it. I thought it was a pretty good buy. We were going to do it. As a matter of fact, I have in my possession where I went to East End and took down the names of the people who were interested and gave that over to government. I still have it, so those who are interested, and if they have lost it, I can provide it. You know how I am with documentation. There were some 60 odd, I believe it was, that was interested. Then there were other people throughout the island that were also interested. Nothing happened. I kept asking questions on the floor daily after I left the executive about when we were going to do it. And they kept putting me off. Along comes the requirement for a radar, Doppler sight. And they placed that there. That is erected there. That's the one that warns us of hurricanes and the weather and stuff.
Yeah, Doppler system.
I again questioned this as to when we were going to do it, and it was promised again that they would. Nothing happened. Along comes the mental health facility, and they needed some place to put that. And this government chose that same piece of property. So we have the mental health facility currently being constructed on that same piece of property. Mind you, I would venture to say that shouldn't, between that and the Doppler, they're fairly close in proximity on the property. So we probably are using up 50 acres maybe, and I want being conservative. I think maybe 50 acres to get sufficient.
I know for the Doppler radar, it wasn't really a whole lot other than access. And
well, what it did
there
was
road access in there, already.
What it did was went through
site.
a big part of it and turned and went So you got to consider all of that
Yes.
as useless now for farming, you know. And then the mental health facility is being built just east of that on the same piece of property. So you could cut it off. Now, there is still a lot of land there that can be used for farming. Some of what we have there now, though, is somewhat cliffy rock, you know, not as broken as where these two facilities are. I tried asking them to relocate it to the back, but they were adamant that that's where they wanted it. So hopefully that's still there. And I think I should make it publicly known that I was not so great an advocate for agriculture that it could be done sufficiently in mass production, large scale, to sustain this country. I am a convert now in that I believe that there are ways and means of doing it. I have seen it, and East and North Side are the two that really produces in this country. And I believe on a small scale, and then bringing that to a collective point, whatever that is, whether it's on paper or physically, we can be more self-sufficient than we are. But we need to put more into it. And if we were to have a takeover government, that's one of the things that I want to do. We need to put more into it, OC. We need to come up with innovative ways. Let's look at Israel. Let's look at all those Eastern Bloc countries. They in deserts they are doing all tomatoes and the likes and whatnot, and we're buying them all the way. Other countries in the Western Hemisphere is buying them from up there. I think we can do it here as well. Now, we may say that labor costs here will not make it cost effective, but let's look at mangoes for a minute. And I'm not saying everything will be self-sufficient, but let's look at mangoes for a minute. We see so much mangoes in this country. Right now, this year, we're going to have mangoes in abundance, okay? I believe what we need to do is to control the importation by importer. So if somebody's importing 100 tons of mangoes per year, we need to restrict them to, say, 20. And then they have to buy the local ones. Something like that. We need to work with the importers and see what is being produced here. We need to do an asset registry, survey of what we're producing, and then control the imports accordingly. Plantains, bananas. Many people never go into East End land. Many people just drive along the road, and that's where they have made their biggest mistake. One of my greatest achievements in this political arena, and I make no excuses for it, none whatsoever, was when I told Mr. Imperato that I was going to lay down in front of the first bulldozer that came to East End to do that.
You never did lay down in front of that.
No, because they didn't bring it either. They didn't bring it either. But it was my mission to stop a dock going in East End because of my fears of the freshwater lens being destroyed. And that freshwater lens produces unbelievably for this country. Many people have never been in there. They don't even know where it comes from, but that's fine. But the people in East End know. And we have quite a lot of farming, and that caller, I am sure I've seen him in East End land before, and he is very familiar with up there. And then what a lot of people don't know is that Northside sits on the water lens too. albeit smaller than the one East End. But we need to protect them, and we need to start giving people grants and loans to get into farming, and we need to promote it. We don't promote it.
I just want to add one thing to that. One of the things, as I said earlier, is that sometimes, unfortunately, it takes crisis stopping for us to start taking a look at some things. I mean, that's just human nature. One of the things that we need to look at first is determine, what we can grow on the type of land that we have. Mm-hmm. Then we also need to start looking at what it is that we import. Yeah. So take something like rice, which we think that you'd take 1 acre of land can basically do 1,000 kilograms of rice. So, I mean, the question is, and then you look at the frequency in terms of how many you can get per year and everything else. So these are the kind of analysis that we have to sit down and do. But one thing is clear, is that once you have completed this, then there's also got to be appetite driven by the public or driven by the electorate to say to people, listen, this is something that we want you guys now to take serious. There are things I can tell you that we all campaigned on, that some things that people took serious, some things that people didn't take serious. But this is what crisis does, because all of a sudden now, bless you. One of the things I had, was pushing for was basically the free Wi-Fi. With the way this island is designed, as flat as it is, there's no reason why we can't at least have, in essence, a big old Wi-Fi area across this island based on the size. I mean, you have cities in some places that are way bigger than this that provide that. So this is not something that is unique. Once again, it takes, unfortunately, something to happen for this to be taken serious. Mm-hmm. So now this is the time now for us to actually have that conversation, have that analysis, and really start putting some money behind it to get it done.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break, but here are 2 questions for you to consider while we're on the break. This one says, good morning. Can you and the panel, can the Honorable Leader of the Opposition say who will be nominated for the Deputy Speaker and why? And the other one wanted to know, I would like to know if there will be any provisions to allow for cullers to remove iguanas. Also, is the Agriculture Department operating whereby individuals can make requests for chicken traps? I'm also having issues with agouti rabbits eating up my crop. Please advise on any information and or ideas on how I can get rid of these animals from eating up my crops. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we have more to talk about, so please stay tuned.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Vamped Motors encourages everyone to stay home in compliance with our government's directives, which are absolutely critical to protect our islands from the coronavirus. In light of this, Vamped Motors will be closed until our Cayman Islands government gives us the all clear to return to work. Please, everyone, be safe and let's get through this together by staying apart.
This is a public service announcement from your Radio Cayman, your community radio station.
Exercise will now be allowed between 5:15 a.m. until 6:45 p.m. Exercise will now be allowed between 5:15 a.m. until 6:45 p.m. because we are cognizant that it is getting light earlier and getting dark later, and the heat is also increasing. In order to assist the Commissioner and his team, the regulations now remove the right to drive your vehicle, your car, your truck, to exercise. So you will have to set out on what the old people used to call Shanks mare or your bicycle. You're not going to be allowed to drive to exercise. Unfortunately, too many people dressed in jeans and t-shirts offer the excuse that they're going to exercise at all hours of the day. That is the only change. Otherwise, all of the other provisions which we have become used to remain in place.
For more information, please visit
curfewtime@gov.ky. That's curfewtime@gov.ky.
The public is advised to report breaches to 911.
The Cayman Islands government wishes to advise the public that vehicle licensing inspection services will not be available today, Friday the 17th of April, as previously announced. Licensing offices must remain closed pending the resolution of the COVID-19 crisis. Government is working hard to resume providing these services in the near future.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
Hello, K-Man. I'm Quincy Brown. Anybody else getting mixed up with all these new coronavirus terms? Me too. But guess what? I've watched the press conferences and I've read the press releases and I've seen all the social media posts. Look here, I can help you out. Essential staff, police officers, immigration, customs, doctors, nurses, first responders, they are essential staff. So if you got to ask, then you ain't. Una got it now? If Una want to stay up to the time with what's going on, there's only one place for the real information, the Cayman Islands government. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Now remember, keep washing your hands, keep following the rules, and keep taking care of each other. Saving lives is Caymankind.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Again, you heard the commercial there that featured Quincy, and I just want to share this with you. One of our listeners says regarding Quincy, he could make a good living with audiobooks. His voice is a God-given talent. Blessings to Quincy as well. Couple of things, Mr. Chris. I know you want to make a statement.
No.
Then want you to talk a little bit because I know you have to go. So I want to talk a little bit about the proposed. I know that you can't say anything in terms of the legislation, what is going forward in the Legislative Assembly, but I will try to make some suggestions as well as to what I see.
No. I just wanted. I had a previous appointment, and because Aaron was supposed to be in this morning, but because of the emergency that he had, we're trying to get one of his constituents here lifted off. I popped in, so but I was trying to move my appointment, but I didn't get it moved, unfortunately. But I just want to say first and foremost is that I'm happy. That the pension, the changes to the pension is actually going forward. One of the things that we need to recognize is that in the grand scheme of things, right now, first of all, no one knows how long this crisis is going to last, and there are technically 3 areas that we can turn to in terms of trying to get the finances to move this country forward. One area is government reserves, government and from government cash. Now, again, we don't know how long it's going to last, and I would prefer at this point that what the government is holding is, 1, the priority be in fighting the virus, and 2, taking care of our most vulnerable, which is our seniors and our children. And that is where I think the government priority should be. I do not support at this point where anyone who's sitting at least more than $10,000, $20,000 sitting their pension to be going to government for an handout. And the feedback I've gotten from many people is that they don't want to be going to government for handout, especially when they have savings. When they have money in their pension. The second issue, or the place that people can turn to, is banks or commercial institutions. Now, I can tell you from banking experience is that some banks would be a little bit reluctant to be lending money to certain industries, certain business at this time. Again, not knowing how long it's going to last. And bearing in mind that unlike the U.S., where mortgages are backed by bond market, here it is actually backed by deposits. So it is a complete different environment where when people try to even compare interest rates in the U.S. to, say, interest rates in Cayman, where the loan money is something completely different than where it is in the U.S. So that has always been an issue. And at the same time, I would not be encouraging anyone to go out and run themselves into more debt at this point, especially when you don't know this is going to last.
Uncertainty, yes.
So then the other option that we have is pretty much is to turn to the pensions. Now, this is something that's normally set aside for a rainy day. And OC, if this doesn't qualify as a rainy day, I don't know what will. And so for that reason, I think it's important for us to, at the same time, be mindful that we don't empty it, but recognize that the stress caused from this. And I take Ivan into consideration where we didn't have any loss of life during Hurricane Ivan, but the stress, and if you go look at the stats of post-Hurricane Ivan, the amount of stress that people went through in terms of even trying to deal with insurance companies and rebuilding and recovering and everything else took a toll on them. And that's one of the things that we need to be mindful of. Not everyone will get the coronavirus, but everyone will feel pretty much the economic stress of what it is that we're going through. So it's important for us to maintain a certain kind of optimism within the market, give people a certain amount of hope, and at least let them know that this is something that's being looked at. One of the things I've always said is that people form government with three basic things in mind: to protect their life, their liberties, and their property. If for us, ultimately, and I know people are, talking like, using terms like trying to multitask, walking through government and everything else. For us as elected leaders, our first priority has always been the preservation of life. We're not saying that the other stuff isn't there, but first priority has always been the preservation of life. And I do recognize that there are some people out there who wants the country to open up, want this to go back to that, want that to go back to that. It's very easy for them to say in some respect, but they're not the one ultimately have to live with the decision if someone was to lose a life. I mean, I have never been in a situation, God forbid, and I hope I've never placed in a position where a decision that I've made has ever been life, impacting in terms of cost someone their life. So these are the kind of things that we wrestle with every day as political leaders in terms of what is the priority. You know what I mean? And it's the same as I can tell you, I have people who reach out to me and say, they would like to have student drivers out there, people driving like they have in the States. I can tell you, as a parent, I mean, none of my kids have a license. I have one son who's old enough, and he refuses to get a license, and I'm not even pushing him. Because the day may come when you make that decision, and some young child goes out there and something happens, and you're like, whoa, I put a 16-year-old on the road, in advance. These are the kind of stuff that people have to wrestle with.
Yes.
So from that standpoint, I do understand. So I'm glad that the pension initiative is coming out there, because there are some business people that reached out to us and said, you know what, we want to keep our staff employed. I have over $400,000 in my pension. I would need $50,000 for the next 3 months to keep the little group that I have. And for those people, OC, I am really, truly, eternally grateful. But then again, also, there are some people out there that I really and truly question their humanity at this point, where their companies are making money, they have deep pockets, and they're basically just sending their employees home with absolutely nothing. Now, I can tell you, I can't speak for my colleagues, but I can speak for me. Some of those companies, I think, needs to be named and shamed. And if I'm telling you, I am honestly looking forward to exercising my parliamentary immunity in some cases of even naming some of those companies. Because we really have some people out there that are greedy and just literally all about the money. You know what I mean?
One of our listeners disagrees with you and says here the member is not entirely correct. A pension is for long-term subsistence when they have retired, not for a rainy day. it is he's misleading the public. It's bad financial advice. What do you say to that?
I just ignore that. Remember, everyone is entitled to their opinion, but and that's all I can say at this point. But the reality of it is this: there are only 3 sources. People need money right now, and there are only 3 sources, and 2 are unavailable. So what we want someone to do, I must say to somebody who needs money today, leave your pension alone, but don't worry, 25, 30 years from now, you're going to be good. No, they need to be taken care of.
They may not get to that stage.
Listen, we're trying to get them
to
that point.
Yeah.
I suspect who it is because that person I have in many conversations on that. And I've agreed to disagree because ultimately at the end of the day, OC, I will say this much. When you're getting 100, 200 messages a day of people looking vouchers for food and everything else and what it is that people need, and I find it hard to know that someone is sitting down on $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in their pension and basically trying to find $100 to find food. I find it really, if anything, almost unethical on our side to sit down. And you know the worst part about it is, OC, we don't have a central bank. The United States got up and just pulled $2 trillion out of the air, 10% of their GDP, like it was nothing. They're mailing checks out like it was nothing. We do not have that option to just pull money out of the air and do that. You know what I mean? And I cannot in good conscience. And so this goes back to where it is that allows us to sleep. It's easy for some people who are very financially well off to say, you know what? This is what I had one lady 2 weeks ago, $130,000 sitting in her pension. As basically ours has been cut. I mean, doesn't even know our their child support is even being paid because she can't even hear from her husband who's also affected by all of this. She needs money right now. $130,000. She said, Chris, I don't see why I should be going to NAU when I have $130,000 sitting in my pension. So what should I say to her? Leave that money now, but wait 25, 30 years, she should be okay? I'm sorry. That is what it is that we need to live with.
And then also in response to this person, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to clean out your pensions. Totally.
No.
We would imagine that at the end of the day, whatever comes in the Legislative Assembly will be a percentage of what's there, right?
In the letter that Arden sent Allen, he proposed $850 a month over the next 6 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was basically a little over $5,100 you're looking at in the grand scheme of things. Because let's break the scenario down. There are 2 sets of employees in this country, public sector employees and private sector employees. The public sector employees are covered because the Premier has made it clear that they're not losing their salaries, they're not losing anything. But then some of them do have spouses that are affected by this. You know, and that's one of the reasons why we even put in the letter the hardship allowance to even consider the exceptional cases. If their spouse is a private sector employee, they'll be able to draw on their pension and at least supplement to somewhat of the income. Yeah. We think $850 is reasonable because that is what it is that other people are getting right now. Some banks have really stepped up and said, you know what, we're not chasing you for your mortgage. But then if you are renting and you're not getting that or that has not been passed on to you, you can be affected. So this is one of those situations where we have to sit down and look at what it is that we need. You know what I mean? This is a global pandemic. The last time we had something of this nature was basically 1918, the Spanish flu of this magnitude. You know, so there is changes that we need to make. And one of the things I've always said is that same kind of dogmatic thinking, the same thinking that got us into this mess cannot be the same thinking that's going to get us out of this mess. And some people are so rigid in their thinking based on their own financial position where they have money. And I'm telling you, a lot of people
they don't have wrestled with it all.
And they don't have to wrestle with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I said, I listen to the people, you know, most of them have money who have no idea what it is that the regular person, the average person go through. And I can tell you, when you have to leave your house 10, 11 o'clock at night to go give someone lunch money for their kids the next day, those things take a toll on you. And those experiences do affect my decision. And if anyone think for 1 minute that $1.2, $1.4 billion can be sitting in private sector pension overseas, and we may need $100 or $200 million a year to move our country forward, that I'm not going to support that. Why should I leave that money overseas to benefit those countries when they're not rebuilding
build back their economy?
They're rebuilding their stuff on our pension, and we must down there suffer and starve. Oh, see, listen to me. That is madness. And if at the end of the day, I will make my decisions as per what it is the people of Bunton West expect me to do, and at any time that anyone believes that my position and decision I take is incorrect, you're Caymanian, you put your $1,000 up, and you come face me at the polls. I have no problem doing that.
And just one more clarification on this. Whatever legislation is coming to the legislature in relation to this, the stakeholders, the industry, they have been consulted and
one thing I need to leave because the person
Yes.
has messaged me thing now. But one thing I can say, OC, I want to make this clear. A lot of these ideas and initiatives that we're pushing is based on feedback from the people in our country. And the last time I checked, as political leaders, we are expected and somewhat required to do what it is that the people who we're sitting here to represent ask us to do. You know what I mean? I'm sure many of them sat down and thought about this over the long term in terms of, you know what, let me deal with this now. But as they said, they do not want to be a burden on the country, and the money is sitting there. And right now, everybody's losing money in the bloody market anyway, so why stick it up inside? Anyway, gentlemen,
all the best. Safe travels.
Yeah, man, thanks much.
Time for us to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. The conversation with the Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Arden McLean, will continue after this commercial break.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
This is a public service announcement from your Radio Cayman, your community radio station. Here are some coronavirus prevention tips.
Home isolation means staying indoors and completely avoiding contact with other people. You need to do this if you have symptoms of COVID-19. If you are practicing home isolation, you should stay in a well-ventilated room with a window to outside that can be opened separate from other people in your home. Keep the door closed and use a separate bathroom from the rest of the household if available. If you have to share these facilities, regular sterilization will be required. Consider drawing up a bathroom schedule for washing or bathing and have the isolated person using the facilities last.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have less than half an hour left and one more commercial break to take. We have 3 callers on hold, so we're going to the phone lines. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
I will see Arden and Sanders.
Chris is gone.
Arden,
yes.
Roger here. Thanks for the input. It looks like that thing I spoke to you about is going through.
Uh-huh.
Second thing is, I was made to understand in the beginning of this, I thought I heard the Premier say that this would be a 3-month payment. But then the Public Transport Board informed me, no, it's just for this month. And then he told me again yesterday that they might be considering another month. Can you tell me anything about that?
Well, that's what I understood. At first, they said it was a one-off payment.
Right.
One-off, right.
Okay.
And then they say they got to look at it again, depending on how long they go on. With this thing continues, you see.
Right.
Right.
Because I would think that, that's put a bad consideration on the drivers because, that's the living.
Yeah,
Most people are getting up to 3-month payment according to what they said first. But anyway, that's what I want to look into this morning. And thanks for the input.
Okay, no
Thank you very much, caller. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, Mr. O.C., and good morning to your guests.
Good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Saunders and Mr. McLean. I have an issue which is somewhat related to the situation that we're in, that being of the isolation and whatnot, because of COVID-19. The situation is I have a daughter who is of school age and is at home, of course, using laptop for schooling. Last week, Thursday, I went to Foster's Republic and bought a Lenovo IdeaPad. Brought it home, was working on it, to set it up, and it's very slow. It's extremely slow, even with the updates and so on. I called them and explained the situation first to someone last Saturday who never got back to me. It was a manager, and I spoke to someone this morning and explained the situation. I was told that they cannot do anything about accepting the laptop because of the pandemic, the crisis that we're in. No, to be quite honest, I am not working. I spent almost $500, $470-something, I do believe, to buy this laptop that has a dummy DVD CD player, and the functionality of it is basically crap. What recourse do I have in such a situation? So, one, I'm out of a laptop for schooling and my use when my daughter isn't using hers, and I basically lost $500. Is there any recourse for me?
You're saying this the merchant that you purchased it from is now refusing to take it back?
Yes, that's correct. It's Foster's Republic.
Well, I think you need to find a manager there. Or the owner.
Yeah, or speak to Mr. Wood Foster.
Yeah, because let me tell you, they may be giving you an excuse because they're busy or something and want you to wait, but they don't understand the urgency and the need you have for this thing. I would contact Woody. You know what? My number is 916-0630. You text me your name and your number, and I'll call Woody and I'll give him your number when I get off here.
Okay, caller?
Hello?
Sorry, let me just grab that number.
Okay.
916-0630. You just text it to me and
916-0630, caller.
Identify yourself as the person who called up the radio. And I'll just call Wood and give it to him.
Caller, can you acknowledge that you have the number? Okay. Let's go to the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello. Good to see you?
Yeah, good morning, sir.
I'm on. Okay, Mr.
Morning.
Morning. I missed most of the show, but I heard you saying something just about the farming.
Uh-huh.
And I have a little solution, because right now I've been looking at a little piece of land that I can put a little studio apartment on and do farming around, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, if the government takes a little 10 acre, say, you can divide off 30 little lots, right? And have the water and electricity hooked up with temporary electricity and temporary water supply hooked up to each of them, and then sell them on terms to different people. Some people can build up a little, I figure a 12 by 24 or 12 by 36, can be built for between $10,000-$15,000. A little wooden place, or a big cement place, and put the windows and all that. I'm talking about a little place which is just as good as some of these apartments already for $700-$900. Yeah, okay. Now, if I could, if I can, but if the government can build a little room like that, the same money that I am paying for rent, I can pay it back to government each month. If I take it out of my pension, right? So it's a sure thing government be getting back all the money. I will have a sure place apartment I can live in. And around the side, they can have me grow boxes and grow my peppers and.
I think we get your point. I think we get your point, caller.
So what is that possible, Mr. McLean?
Okay, we'll have Mr. McLean answer that. I want to thank you very much. We're going to grab the last caller, closing the phone lines off, going to commercial, and then Mr. McLean can answer all of the questions. Last caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, morning. OC morning.
Hey, morning, Elvis.
Elvis here, man. I'm up my farm here chilling out.
Okay.
Morning.
Yeah, plenty of young fish, plenty of young mangoes, but boy, no water.
Morning.
Morning, Arden. I say.
What are you going on with all these? What are you going on with all these old videos for?
On Facebook, just a banana. Shaking it up, brother. Well, it's called rocking the boat, baby.
Oh boy, what I do with you?
I said, tell me something now. I heard all of the preachers come on and pray. But not a one pray for a little bit of rain. I guess they don't think we need rain in this thing. I guess we just need the cure and everything go all right. But if we don't get no rain, we can do it anyhow.
But Elvis, you heard about that story in East End? It was a drought, and this was told to me by my father. You know how he was, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he said everybody gathered in the church to pray for rain. And they all went, and one lady came with an umbrella. So they asked her, why you come with this, why you bring umbrella for? She said, didn't we come here to pray for rain? I don't intend getting wet going back home. That's the kind of faith we need to have in this.
Yeah. All right, now I tell you about the farming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now everybody know what went on. No, I can make everybody know what went on. That place was being farmed by inmates from Northwood, right?
Yeah.
And a tragedy happened up there.
Right, I mentioned that.
Listen, man, a young lady went up there. Remember, the prisoner didn't go to this young lady. You know?
Yeah, we know the story.
Yeah.
And when that happened, now, what we done? Shut it down. I mean, what? Where is the planning? You see what they built on the farmland? Now, that was special for farming. They built up facilities for the mental health. Then we need that. But you got plenty of cliff landing came on. And the Doppler radar, all that need to be on cliff, you know. But now we covering up the rain mold, so we have no plan. Anyhow, Mr. Arden, you're the leader of the opposition now.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I bring in my subject with me.
Uh-huh.
Now, Mr. Ezra Miller said that he was the man that will back the decriminalization of marijuana. Now, we still importing marijuana products into the Cayman Islands. You know that, right?
Uh-huh.
Because this is the only time in the country that all 19 members voted unanimously for the medical marijuana act. Because I listen and I keep record too.
Right.
Now, that's been almost 4 years ago. No. Don't you think it's time for us to make the next move now? Farming for the medical, farming for the recreational. Check how many young Caymanians have got a police record since that 3 years for ganja. And you know what I mean? They're not getting on no working now. Because do you know when you go to get a job, you have to have a police record. Now, the person come from Austria, Holland, Germany, Jamaica, anywhere. They can get all kind of record. You think somebody can put on them possession one split so they can't get a accounting job in Cayman? Or or a cabinet job. It's not happening.
Okay.
It's we poisoning our youth for something that you see, Jamaica.
Caller, you're going to have to shorten it very quickly. Going past.
I say every person in Jamaica can grow filing marijuana plants, and they're shipping medical marijuana to Canada, and they're processing the oil and shipping it to Cayman. It is the fastest growing industry in the world, and it's so easy to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we change that,
Yeah.
Mr. Arden?
We have really bigger fish to fry now, though, than that. Yeah, but I'm sure that they'll get to that. Caller, I want to thank you very much for that. We have to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. Phone lines are closed off. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Sending money to your family overseas shouldn't be a full-day process. Stop waiting in lines. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide, offering 3 convenient locations: Shedden Road, Baden Water Sports in West Bay, and at FIS Brack Agency in Cayman Brack. MoneyGram by Financial Integrated Services. Visit fiscayman.com for more information on MoneyGram services. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs, with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes, Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Ard McLean. We have closed the phone lines off. We only have about 7 minutes left to go in the show. And I know, Mr. McLean, you want to share something in relation to the Needs Assessment Unit as well. But one of our listeners has written in and said, will the MLAs consider foregoing their salaries for the next 3 months to feed the people? And then offline earlier this morning, we had a caller who suggested that the members of the Legislative Assembly should take $1,000 out of their salary each month and put it in a fund to help those persons who are in need of financial assistance as well. So I want to give you an opportunity to address that and then to talk about
I'll dismiss about $1,000. I'll dismiss that, but we'll address it.
Sure.
I'll talk about the other one, giving all my salary up to do it and mix it with what we do as legislators, and not only me. Okay. All right. Mr. Harris sent me a text earlier, and it says, and I suspect he said it to me to read out. I would like to think that's why he did it. Needs Assessment Unit, urgent reminder of ongoing protocols. The Needs Assessment Unit, NAU, wishes to remind the public of the following procedures that it is working under during the COVID-19 situation. Existing clients do not need to go to NAU. Their services will continue to be top. New clients can email nauinfo@gov.ky to send documents, ask questions, and process new applications. Alternatively, call 946-0024 or 244-2426 for general inquiries on service approval. That's Grand Cayman, or 948-8758 in Kimmelbrack.
Yep.
The NAU will only be focusing on existing needs. Housing repairs will not be considered at this time. The NAU thanks the public for its continued compliance with these necessary measures. For further information about the work of the unit, visit www.nau.gov.ky. Now, when Mr. Austin didn't go into the existing needs, I believe what he meant there is like food and that kind of stuff, you know, because electricity is being delayed and payments on that and the stuff. But existing needs, and I probably would like to think that, you know, the people that they're in agreement
those
with
that have
rent,
already been identified, yes.
Right. So that is a public announcement from them. Let me talk about those two
suggestions
or whatever. One said give $1,000 and the other said
3 months salary.
3 months salary. Now listen to me. This is, until one goes into the parliament, one never understands this. This is but a job. You don't get rich in politics. Nevertheless, you need to be paid, whether you think that is handsomely done or not. I can tell you, I would say that there are very few people ever walk through those doors into those hallowed halls that took home more than 50% of what they were being paid. I would want to say that there are very few people who have taken home more than 50% of what they're being paid, because we help people. We feel an obligation to help people. For instance, in this crisis, and for those of you talk about put $1,000 up. I would not even. I don't even want to say on the air how much money I have given out over the last week in gift cards. I don't even want to say it because, you know, it would be people would think that I'm stupid, ridiculous. That's what we do. We go and beg along with ours and what we can put in, and we beg private people to help those who are in need most. So when you criticize me, you walk a mile in my shoes, because if we didn't have donors out there, if we didn't have people who give us money to assist in these things, and they don't give it to us.
Either cash or kind.
They give it direct to the stores that they send it over to the stores that we are going to get these cards, in this case now. And or they pay for the stuff that we want to help our people along, and we only ask them for what we need to beef it up. Now listen, just yesterday, OC, all this country talking about they're trying to get masks and find masks for the people. It's me who turned the government on to a particular gentleman in Jamaica who's making masks for the army and all that up there, you know, that is going to be making masks for our people here. He had a textile, what do they call it? Factory.
Textile factory.
Yeah, and he turned it now into making masks during this period. And you know what he delivered yesterday to FedEx for me? 2,000 masks. You think that takes $1,000 out of my salary to do? 2,000 masks. I personally ordered them, OC. You know what they're for? Every living human being in East End in my constituency will be receiving a cloth mask as soon as they arrive. You think that does not take a big slice out of what government is paying me and my salary? And then those who are close to me, who are fair businessmen in this country, my family, assist me with it? You think we're doing nothing? You think the other 18 members are doing nothing?
Plus you have a family to feed as well.
Plus we all have families to feed. My son is doing law on the internet. You think that's just comes like that? But I am not supposed to take care of him and my children and my family and buy food for them? You need to see, everyone who would criticize needs to see what we do. We sacrifice. I'm not saying that anybody holding a gun to our head. It's out of compassion. I spoke to the Premier the other day, and he was devastated that he couldn't get out there and do more. That's what we do. You don't have to tell us what to do. That is what we do. And I would invite you.
Because you don't talk about it, don't mean that.
Because we don't talk about it, don't mean we don't do it.
Yes.
And let me tell you, I would invite you to create your soapbox and get elected to the Legislative Assembly in time, and I guarantee you will understand what it takes. Okay. I just read that message from Mr. Harris. Mm-hmm. Ask him. He on the radio. He used to be on the radio beating us. Ask him what it takes when you are an advocate and when you are a representative. Ask him what it takes.
Okay, Mr. McLean, I want to thank you very much for being here. I want to thank Mr. Saunders, even though he's left, had to leave early as well. Folks, I want to remind you that the government press briefing at 2 o'clock, again, we know that many of you tune into that because that's where you get the current information from, and we want to encourage those officials there to continue to provide us with all of the relevant information that we need to make people feel comfortable, give them the confidence that they're working on the behalf of the people of the Cayman Islands, and so far they have been doing an excellent job, and we want them to continue to do that as well. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want. Again, we urge you to do your part to defeat the coronavirus in the Cayman Islands. Do your part. Continue to practice your social or physical distancing and all of the other things that will help to keep you safe. Remember those who are more vulnerable or elderly, as well, and take into consideration your act. They take them into consideration whenever you do something as well. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. God bless.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news.
Access.
Local, regional, international, this is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
Cayman Code Academy and internationally recognized Coding Academy Code Fellows are facilitating full-time remote instruction to support job seekers interested in gaining remote technology work skills. A financial assistance fund has also been announced by Cayman Enterprise City to help with tuition fees for Caymanians in need. We now talk about COVID around the world. Wuhan, where the virus emerged, revises its death toll up by 1,290 to 3,869, an increase of 50%. The Chinese Foreign Ministry says statistics